Uh, what's going on, family? Hopefully, everybody's doing pretty good. Get this closer. But anyways, I think it's been 2 years since I've actually been live on um, this channel. Yeah, it's been about 2 years, but it's all good. Yeah, I used to go live on Facebook and things of that nature. And maybe I will connect this. Actually, if you're subscribed to my what is it? If you are subscribed to my Larry's Anything Goes page, you will notice that I usually use StreamYard when I go live, things of that nature. So I'm going to see if there's a possibility if I'm going to connect my account, see if I can connect my account to this channel, Patterson L Properties. If you don't know, Patterson L Properties are basically wholesale real estate in the DMV area and Pennsylvania, specifically Reading, Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Allentown, Pennsylvania, Lancaster, all that good stuff. So, but anyways, I digress. So, real estate, interesting market. I saw a video the other day, but not the other day, yesterday, and it talked about one of the cheapest counties to buy a house in the United States of America, and that was in Huntington, West Virginia. Now, we're definitely in a time now where if you want to get a somewhat decent house for a decent price, and I say decent house, decent price, I'm talking about 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom house. That's a single family house, most likely an older house. You're gonna have to go to an area where, quote unquote, it's not economically thriving. Like a Washington D.C., a Los Angeles, a New York City, a tech hub, things of that nature. Even though like L.A. is one of my favorite cities, L.A. has its issues from an economic standpoint because um, Hollywood, L.A. is not a Hollywood town, even though they have a tech scene, but it's not tech driven like Austin, Texas, and specifically San Francisco. But it has a tech scene because it's Los Angeles. But Hollywood isn't the same. And number one, and then two, a lot of the production industry has moved down south. New York has always been LA's competition, and then you have Atlanta being competition, and now you have 50 Cent opening up a studio in Shreveport, Louisiana. So you do the math right there, and I'll just leave it at that. But anyways, let's talk about how interesting the housing market is right now. In a sense, I say it's a special place right now because obviously the prices are high because of inflation and because of supply and demand. That's just what it is, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Now, I know that um, I know that inflation's gonna, as far as, well, interest rates will be cut. Not dramatically, but they're going to be cut, trying to get the economy going again. If Trump gets elected, and I don't care who you're voting for, I'm not voting, but if he does get elected, I know that's one thing he will do. Um, that'll be in a sense on the positive side because that'll get people not worried about borrowing money again. But either way, I know the Fed is cutting interest rates little by little because it just it's time. Um, so I'll leave it at that. But anyways, this main reason why I'm going live today, it's like I said, it's, but usually if you've seen my channel before, I'm usually um I'm usually just reading off of a pamphlet, and that's why I said now I'm just said, you know what, I decided tonight, what, let me just be spontaneous and just do something different for a change, And it's been 3 weeks since I've uploaded anything on this channel, so I was like, you know what, let me just do something different. As a matter of fact, let me check and see how my sound is. Give me a second. See how my sound is. Give me a second. It's actually interesting that it's actually interesting that one thing I can say with sincerity is that with this new computer, I usually have an issue when I'm on StreamYard, but for recording this, um, but recording this is everything is clear and for the most part decent. So I'll leave it at that. But anyways, just wanted to got a comment. Appreciate it. Hold on a second. Oops. Appreciate it. All right. So, anyways, let's get into this article. And like I said, I'll review this video. Hopefully, like I said, I think there's a little bit of a lag, but the video is clear for the most part. So we'll see what happens and go from there. All right. So, like I said, for some odd reason, let me check and see. I just want to make sure. 'Cause this is if this video is lagging, then there's no point in me doing this. No point in me doing this. Okay, so I just want to make sure it was coming through clear. All right. So, 14 U.S. metros, metropolitan areas, major cities, where the number of homes for sale is bouncing back to pre-pandemic levels. In a sense, that's a good thing. This because people just can't. People are locked into their low, including myself, the low interest rates that they had before that they got during the pandemic before interest rates were raised. During the times of 2018, 2019, and 2020, and 2021, and then obviously the interest rates have gone up since then. But anyways, the number of home sales have scraped bottom for nearly 5 years, but in some key U.S. markets, inventory is rising to pre-pandemic levels. So, which is in a sense, it's a good thing because that can, at least I won't say that it will drive the cost back to where the price was during the pandemic because it's a different time now. But I will say it should hopefully leave a little bit of negotiation wiggle room for um, the buyers of these specific areas. Let's just put it like that. All right. Now, the rising inventory levels in these markets could signal a broader loosening of housing supply, and it could be a shot in the aim for home buyers locked out of the market by still rising home prices, elevated mortgage rates, and limited choices. But at the end of the day, and that's just me reading verbatim. At the end of the day, will will the prices go back down to 2019? I'm going with no. So I'll give an example. Maybe if a house is priced for $500,000, maybe the seller, with the house being on the market too long, the seller would say, you know what? Okay, I'm not going to get as much of a profit off of this property as I want to. So maybe let me put the price down from 500,000 to 450,000 or 400,000. One of those things. It's something to take into consideration. Um, but I'm going to go over the areas now. I know one thing: Texas has been stabilized a little bit, and Florida is going down just because Florida is a tourist state. That's the problem. Whether you like Florida or not, I'm not going to get into the politics because I don't like any politician at this point. But Florida is the upside. So the main states people were going to were Florida and Texas during the lockdown and pandemic. A lot of remote workers were going to Florida and Texas. The downside of people going to Florida is Florida doesn't have a bad economy, but it doesn't have the best economy. Florida is a tourist-based state. Now, I know Tampa has a lot going on, Miami has a lot going on, but once you leave those specific areas, it's nothing but tourism. Orlando is a tourism city. I think Jacksonville, Florida has a little bit more going on, but Tallahassee, that's the state capital city, so there's a little bit going on there. But at the end of the day, the Florida is a thriving state because of importing and exporting and because of tourism. That's why they weren't even locked down 4 months, I don't think. I don't, yeah, they were states that weren't even locked down 4 months because a state like Florida, they had no choice. They had to open. People were going to lose their businesses. A lot of businesses were shut down and never reopened because of the lockdown. Like restaurants, stores, retail stores on various different levels, because they depended on their customer base was dependent on the people coming in to these specific establishments. So, because I remember seeing that during in Las Vegas in 2021, a lot of stores just shut down. But anyways, at the end of the day, that's why if I was anybody, if I was a person that was going to move down south and I'm a regular working person, it's different when you're rich. You can move wherever the heck you want to. But when you're a regular working person, I always say, and this is my recommendation, if I wanted to move down south, I would move to the Carolinas because they have a better job industry, specifically like North Carolina, Raleigh, Durham area, Charlotte area, Atlanta, Georgia, where else? Dallas, Texas, Houston, Texas, Austin, Texas, places like that that have a thriving economy. Like now, if you're retired, it's a different story. Nashville, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, places that have a thriving economy. Um, Heck, even Montgomery, Alabama, Jackson, Mississippi have a good economy compared to a lot of places. But these places are not dependent on tourism. That's my whole point at the end of the day. But anyways, from among the 100 largest metros in the United States, all right, Realtor.com compared the active inventory per 10,000 total housing units, which can provide a more accurate metric for comparisons between metros over several years of data. Not surprisingly, they found a few common traits among the places where the number of homes for sale is back above pre-pandemic levels. And the areas that are in question: number one, Lakeland of Winter Haven, Florida, which is at plus 33%, Colorado Springs plus 30%, Memphis, Tennessee, plus 22%, Cape Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Florida, 0.18%, McAllen, Edinburgh, Mission, Texas, 0.16%, Austin, Round Rock, Georgetown, Texas, the point plus 13%, New Orleans plus 12%, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, um, plus 12%, Phoenix, Arizona plus 11%, Palm Bay, Melbourne, Florida plus 10%, Newport, Sarasota, Florida 8%, Daytona Beach, Florida plus 6%, San Antonio, Texas plus 2%, and Tampa Bay, St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida plus 2%. And I like I said, I've only been to Florida like twice in my life. Yeah, I went as a child and once as a grown man. Nothing against Florida. I'm just not a Florida guy. If I want to spend money to get on a plane and go to a beach, I'd rather go to California than Florida just because I like the geography of the beaches in California because I'm not a lay on the beach kind of guy. I'm a more walk the boardwalk pier kind of guy. So I'll leave it at that. All right. So as of June of 2024, I know we're about making this video in July, but as of June 2024, Lakeland, Florida, median list price for a home is $349,000. I don't think that's a bad price, but once again, you have to look at the area of Lakeland, Florida. Because a lot of people have moved to Florida now. Like great example, a high school friend of mine, she just her and her sons just moved to Florida, but she is a registered nurse. So if you're in the medical field, I don't care what state you live in, you're going to be able to make a decent living because, especially the pandemic showing that hey, people like that are needed. All right, so it is what it is. Number two, Memphis, Tennessee. The May median list price is once again $349,000 in Memphis, Tennessee, and that's another city I've never been to. So I need to check out Tennessee. Though Tennessee has a lot to offer. Number three, Colorado Springs. Now, of course, because it's close to the West Coast, the median list price was $517,000, but it was higher. Um, it was definitely around. No, I'm sorry. All these prices were around these prices that I'm listing. Let me go back as of May 2019. So the prices before that I'm listing now for all these specific locations for the median list price for a home was actually higher during the pandemic. But as of May of 2024, the prices of these areas of a median list price for a home has actually gone back to the norm. So, um, and then I know in Colorado Springs, $500,000 is pretty freaking good. Number four, Cape Coral, Florida. So back in 2019, it was 461,000, and now it's back to that level right now, as of May 2024. McAllen, Texas, same thing with that. $279,000 for McAllen, Texas. I mean, not the most exciting place to be, so that price is not bad. And you're not too far away from everything, you're not too close to everything. So I'll leave it at that. New Orleans, Louisiana. I know New Orleans is going through hell and back, and they have their own version of gentrification. And Louisiana is still one of the most poorest states in the country. Um, but the median list price for a home there is $338,000. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Columbia, South Carolina, and Myrtle Beach is going through their own version of gentrification. But any coastal city, because it used to just be, the cities in California and New York, but now any coastal city is going to have its own little version of gentrification. Now, will the homes be at the prices of California and New York? Not, I don't think anytime soon, but they are at levels to where the locals, cannot really afford it. And that's why holding on to real estate and passing down real estate is in everyone's best interest. I don't care what part of the country you live in. It is what it is. No, all right. Number eight, Austin, Texas. So the median price for a house in Austin, Texas was 565,000 in May of 2019, and now it's back at that level because it was like during the pandemic, it got worse in Austin, Texas. Like the mayor even said um, in Austin, Texas, that they want to turn Austin into the San Francisco of Texas. From an economic standpoint, I don't know why you would want to do that, because like nobody can afford to live in San Francisco, and a lot of the locals in Austin, Texas now cannot afford to live in Texas because a lot of people from other countries and California have come down and helped inflate the prices by, especially with the house bidding wars and things of that nature. So a lot of the locals now have been kicked out of the city and have to live in the outer areas of Austin, Texas. So even, and like I said, has become a city that's not considered to be as affordable as it used to be. It's still better than California compared to California prices, but for your average everyday working person, not so much. All right, number nine, Sarasota, Florida. Prices was $499,000 in 2019, and now it's back to that level. But like I said, with Florida, the issue that they have, unlike Texas, is a lot of remote workers move to Florida because the beautiful thing about Florida and Texas, no income state tax. So if your job was based out of New York or California, of course you're getting taxed to death. You would not, if you're going to relocate as a remote worker, you would not want to relocate to a state that has has a state income tax, because then you're going to get taxed for two different states. So, but a lot of remote workers have been called back home. So a lot of people have been forced to leave Florida because they can't find that same kind of job in Florida. So it is what it is. Now, I know in Texas, especially if you're a tech person, you'll be able to find another job in Texas compared to Florida, because Texas has a way better job market. It is what it is. Um, Anyways, Palm Bay, Florida, median house price in 2019 was $399,000, and now it's back to that level as of May of this year, 2024. Number 11, San Antonio. Now, San Antonio is a nice city. Um, Only been there once. I'm going back there again in September, just for a day or two. But San Antonio's got a nice little vibe. It's a mid-sized city with a military vibe and beautiful country swag, and great diverse, multicultural, diverse city. But the good thing about San Antonio is the prices of the homes have not gotten to the levels of Austin, Dallas, and Houston. They're not going through that kind of gentrification. I don't think they will anytime soon, just because I don't think the city of San Antonio is trying to expand like Texas. They want to remain this mid-sized city that they are, especially with you having a great military population there. People, when they retire from the service, they love to move to San Antonio, Texas, because there's an Air Force base there, there's an Army base there. Plus, they can utilize the VA benefits by going to the commissary for grocery shopping, PX for regular shopping, and they can utilize the VA hospital with the VA benefits, veteran fair better earned benefits. So these things make sense, and then plus your pension doesn't get taxed, and if you want to get another job, there's no income state tax. So one would call that a win-win situation. So, but yeah, I thought San Antonio has a vibe, but when it comes to Texas, Houston's my city. all day, every day. I've been to every city, major city in Texas, not every mid-sized city, but every major city in Texas. And Houston's my city when it comes to going to Texas. Phoenix, Arizona, a place I want to call home one day. I love the desert. I love the beautiful mountains. I love the energy of Phoenix. Love the culture of Phoenix. So the median house for price for a house in Phoenix was 545,000 in 2019, and Phoenix got kind of crazy during the pandemic. Especially, I learned the last time I went to Phoenix was just last. It was December of last year. So many landlords went so long with not being able to evict their tenants. So a lot of landlords took advantage of once the eviction moratorium was lifted, they raised the rents and kicked people out. and that- and and unfortunately, I got to see with my own eyes that Phoenix has a very bad homeless population problem. If you go to downtown Phoenix, apparently it used to be worse. It was like almost at a point of like Skid Row and whatnot. But but I did notice that, unfortunately. But anyway, that's just, you got to put my own little personal perspective on things. All right. So anyway, so number 13, Daytona Beach, Florida. Only been there once, and I was back when I was in elementary school, but it was a definitely an experience. But yeah, the median house price in Daytona Beach was $399,000 back in May 2019, and as of May 2024, it's back to that price now. So last but not least, the Bay, Florida. I know that's a place that's blowing up. I know that, like I said, when it comes to having a decent economy, when it comes to Florida, I know Miami's the most expensive city in Florida. I mean, heck, the cost of living in Miami is almost at California and New York levels. Only difference is that the taxes aren't as they don't have the egregious taxes there, but Miami's basically coming to place for people like Jeff Bezos and the millionaires and the billionaires and whatnot. Regular working people will only be there to serve the well-to-do in Miami, Florida. There is no middle class in Miami, Florida anymore. But anyways, Tampa was $425,000, and I think that's a reasonable price to live, especially in a beautiful beach community like Tampa Bay, Florida. So it's interesting where things are at, and it's interesting where things are going to go. And we'll just see where this train goes when it comes to real estate. I mean, I think for your regular working people that are looking to retire, they're going to either move to foreign countries, the third world countries where the American dollar will stretch a lot further. One or two, they'll just move to more smaller, mid-sized, smaller towns and mid-sized cities and whatnot in order for their retirement dollars to stretch further, in order for them to be able to actually have a real retirement, because they won't be able to live in the major cities or the major metropolitan areas anymore. But it is what it is, and it should be interesting. And you go from there. I think I'm gonna start doing this once a month. Just go live, just talk about stuff, get my perspective, and just call it a day. Because it's just nice to do something different. Break the monotony of things. So on that note, family, do the great three free things: like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day, and as I always say, if you're a stock market investor, I always say make money moves, or you can live like a fool. If you're a stock market investor, crypto investor, individual retirement account investor, don't forget to check out WEBULL, Stash, acornscrypto.com, Coinbase. With all those platforms, you'll be able to make some money moves, and I'll get a little referral. And thank you for the people who donate to my PayPal, Venmo, to my Cash App, all that good stuff. It's always greatly appreciated. But on that note, take care, and I'm out. And like I said, I think I'm gonna start doing this at least once a month, because just break the monotony of my normal videos. Just do something different, and like I said, maybe I'll connect this to my StreamYard, so I have more features and things of that nature. But I think just keeping it like this, keeping it simple, will suffice. So take care. I'm out.